That's more like
probably
what
Jesus. Yeah, exactly. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But yes, indeed. Band music in general. Do you know, I found it really hard to get the Reservoir Dogs soundtrack because the film was fucking banned.
Yeah, but that's what happens with stuff as well, because they were doing that. It was same with Dusty Dawn soundtrack, because they had the clips from the thing on it, so they didn't want people to have access to it.
It's ridiculous.
That was in Ireland. But yeah, there was one of the big ones, music video wise, which it nearly seemed, but it was artistic. I think it's a great video, is Smack My Bitch Up.
Yeah, banned for ages, actually.
That was banned and that's one of the famous kind of ones. If you look at any list of banned music videos, I'm sure that's going to be on it, but it was because
the twist at the end.
It was the twist at the end, because there was other videos out that were similar, but it was a twist at the end that got it banned, because a woman wouldn't do something like that. That's shocking. I can't have that.
Yeah, but if it had been a man doing it, they probably would have left it through and nobody would have said it.
That's what there was similar videos out at the time that work on, but it was it's lad culture, that's okay. I was like, women can't do these things. But even just looking it up about the Foo Fighters for Low, have you ever seen the music video for that, Mark?
No, I can't say I have. I haven't.
Jack Black is in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's him and Jack Black basically fucking go mad in a motel room, and they end up dressing up as women, just doing loads of fucking mad shit. But it got pulled from MTV because that they're dressed up as women in it.
Was it that rather than the bondage gear?
Yep. And speaking of bondage, 9 Inch Nails' Happiness and Slavery.
True.
That was proper, because it was a guy driving nails through his cock in it.
Yeah, and sort of pulling these balls apart and stuff.
Yeah. Which you kind of go, fair enough.
Fair enough, I suppose. Yeah, that was a bit rough.
And Tools, I never understood Tools' Prison Sex got banned. The music video isn't that bad for it. It's cartoony.
Is it just the lyrics then?
The lyrics, there's one bit where blood shit and come on my hands.
One I kind of find funny a little bit is Waterloo, the song by ABBA, was banned along with 67 I think, or 60 odd other songs during the Gulf War, and because they were just taking a really broad approach, and they just the BBC just banned these outright if they had any reference or could think there was any reference to war, the Middle East, killing, or a bunch of other things in general. So because Waterloo talked about a battle fucking fought during when Napoleon was around, they're that'll trigger someone.
The kids riled up.
Yeah.
This is stuff about Napoleon. But see, this is the problem with all this kind of shit. Censorship is ridiculous in itself.
You can't be the arbiter of what people should be able to hear, listen, see.
No, it's art. Let's just say any kind of form. It's art. People have the right to, and even I say that kind of coming from even I'm into black metal, but I don't really listen to it much anymore. Some of the guys in aren't neo-Nazis, don't agree with it in any shape or form. But at the same point, you kind of go, well, they have a right to express it, just as long as they're not hurting anyone, or they're not trying to incite.
That's what I suppose that's what it comes down to. You can't be inciting hatred, or you can't be inciting specific beliefs. That's what it comes down to, really, I suppose.
But so it's. I can't actually say any of the bands that I do. Well, I don't listen to any of the bands that do have that neo-Nazi fucking slant on it. Burzum would probably be the closest. But he doesn't sing about it, right? Whereas I've just never been into any of that military shit either. Where there's some of them that. Was it Marduk? I can't even remember. That there's bands that they have these fucking things that are about Nazi soldiers and shit. Where I'm just never that much interest in World War II anyway.
But just go back to it, because I was just curious now, and I just looked through the actual list. On top of Waterloo, which is kind of the more famous one, some of the other songs were Flash, the song by Queen.
Really?
Atomic by Blondie. What was it? Bang Bang by Cher. And then just
poor Cher.
Most of these, as you look through it, you're they're not even really that close to anything to do with wars or anything.
See, I think it's ridiculous as well. A lot of this stuff kind of shows how little kind of like control people have over things. That a government or kind of like some agency can at any point say, no, we don't think this is like fit for you to listen to. So,
and they just yoink it and that's it. You
so
can't.
the trouble with the music, it's that happens with music. If you kind of stand back and you let it happen with music or musicians, it'll happen with books, it'll happen with education books. That before
And it was like first they came for the Jews and I didn't speak out because I wasn't Jewish, and then they came for the, it's that whole...
Oh yeah, that's a bit extreme, but
But you know what I mean? It's like, where do you stop? Where do you draw the line?
Is, yeah.
If you don't speak
It's
out
like,
about certain things, where do you stop?
Well, like, I mean, you have, like, say, a lot of underground bands and things do get away, but I think it's seen, sure, they're not hitting the mainstream, so it's not going to affect anyone. But then the very minute they do, like, I mean, even the Sex Pistols, they were, like, seen as causing trouble, and they did, which was great, like, but I don't really know enough about the punk scene at that time to know whether punk kind of, like, inspired the Sex, which I think they were, because they were pretty much manufactured, weren't they? By, was it Vivian Westwood or Paul fucking, but, that for kind of, like, fashion kind of thing. So obviously punk movement must have been around. Well, you had the American punk kind of with Stooges and all those lads. And Lou Reed. Lou Reed, I just love Lou Reed. As a person, I think he's great. There was that interview that we were looking where it's like, do you do drugs? And he's like, no, I don't do drugs. And then he's going over and they were like, what are you going to do with all your money? And he was like, buy some drugs. But yeah, it's kind of like, for a minute there I thought we were kind of like starting to veer into kind of agreeing with it, because we're like, oh yeah, I could see why that video would be banned, or oh yeah, they'd have to ban this.
No,
and that.
not at all. No,
No,
that's, I mean, like, there are some. I've heard some fucking horrific shit in like rap songs and stuff like that. And there's like, I mean, there's some rap that I haven't heard of until it surfaced on like somebody put it up on Reddit or something like that, and they're like, have you heard this? And it's all about like, yeah, going to stick my dick up her fucking shithole and I'm going to bust it out through her nostrils, and I'm kind of like, oh my god, make it stop, this is horrendous.
Yeah, but you can't just stop it.
But that's what I mean. There is an off switch and you just don't buy the
It's not
music.
like someone starts pumping it into your brain.
That's it. But I mean, you do have the thought then, you're kind of going, my god, there's impressionable 14-year-olds listen to this, and I'm kind of going, well, so long as they're not sticking their dick up my fucking nostril, that's
listen
fine.
to music and goes, that sounds like a good idea.
Well,
I wasn't
I don't
listening to the
know.
fucking Transformers soundtrack when I was 8 going,
I'd love to
let's
turn
go off
into
and
a gun.
bust the fucking head off of that fucking Megatron.
Yeah, it goes back to the same thing. Like, a lot of people, like, they from even before like music was super mainstream, like, it was books were banned or books were censored because they'll do this to you, they'll make you do that, they'll make you do this. Then it was music, then it was TV, then it was video games, and it continues on. And for the most part, like, you can really see it doesn't work because millions of people actually play like first-person shooters and games, and like, for the most part, outside of some areas, you don't see like people just going, yeah, you're right, I will just go shoot everyone.
Yeah, of course they don't. It just
Unless they're
doesn't-
mentally ill in the first place.
But if you go off and you look at serial killers, like all the serial killers, what kind of stuff were they listening to? They weren't listening to the fucking
Sunshine.
Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't listening to the most common book that you will find in serial killers or murderers' houses is the Bible. Fucking ban
true.
the Bible.
Very true.
Apart from people like what's his face, the Unabomber, who would have had like how to make a bomb booklet and stuff. But
Yeah, he was a very literal person.
But you have a lot of these things, and like, I mean, fucking the Branch Davidian, David Koresh, they're fucking listening to him singing around, fucking playing like shitty fucking acoustic, fucking Jesus is a sunbeam. Crap. They weren't listening to Autopsy fucking singing about splitting asses and cunts together, like, with a pickaxe.
Yeah, true. True. Indeed.
Also, this like is a medium, and like to a degree, like, yeah, you can go, oh, this is I don't like this. It's not good. It's like, but it goes back to what Laura was saying. Then just don't listen to it. It's and if you don't want, like, if you have kids growing up, kind of, you can censor them, but you shouldn't be going, no, I don't want it to be out there because then my kid might get it. It's like, well, be a parent then. It's the same thing where it's like, oh, I don't want this on TV because then my child might see it, because I'd have to put in work otherwise.
Yeah, I have to press the off button. Oh no.
Well, I have a sister that no one talks anymore in the family, and I'll never forget. I had a cathedral tape that was in my mother's bag when we were over at her house listening to it, and she read through it. Or maybe it was a Slayer one. Well, I'm fairly sure there was a cathedral one there as well, and she was like, oh, he shouldn't be lit, that sounds all satanic, and he shouldn't be doing that. My mother listened to her, and she was like, you can't listen to that anymore. I was like, fucking what? But yeah, if that bitch is anything to go by, don't be censoring people. You'll have no one in your family that
exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
That's like, I mean, my parents never once. My father used to just like, he's like, "What tape would you like this week?" And I'd say, "Right, okay, can you buy this and go and this, whatever?" And he'd be like,
Prince
yes,
or Queen,
fine, whatever. But no, it was like there was never a thought. It was just like, "Here you go, fine." There was never a thought of like, "I need to read through these lyrics."
I'm sure if you were getting like autopsy albums with Blood Fiend or Fiend, you might be like,
but it doesn't work because if you think of it, if you censor something like that and a person wants to go off and do it or something like that, they're going to find a way to do it.
Of course.
It goes back to the same with like video games, like with like when the DLC they were like, oh, this will stop people pirating games. It's like, no, it just pissed off the people who weren't pirating games, and then they ended up pirating games. And it's the same with music. When you like try to go, oh, it's restricted, all that, people are just assholes, are like very contrary. So a person who might have it will go, well, I'm going to make it very easy for other people to get this because you don't want me to.
Exactly.
Yes.
But yeah, I think this is something that will definitely come back to in the future. Might do a list of like the best band.
Yes, the best shit you should listen to.
Yeah.
Censored.
The best band gunship songs.
Yeah, they're all banned by you, Mark.
I've actually started listening to some gunship recently.
What do you think? Finally, didn't take you 10 years like it did with Hot Rod.
I know. Well, you usually steer me on the right tracks. Like every now and again, you tell me to go off and listen to like Behemoth, and I'm like, oh, maybe they don't know what they're talking about. But in this regard, and I thought they were actually quite good, and they're actually coming up in my listings of bands I like.
Oh, good. It's very good. Yes.
Listen to Cthulhu.
What?
Okay.
They have a song Cthulhu. I don't think it's on one of the albums.
I thought you were talking about a band.
Cthulhu.
Yeah, I think it might be just that they did it for like a compilation record or something like that. But it's brilliant. Like it's really, really good.
Band Cthulhu. I can't really tell you about them. They're indescribable.
Actually, before we go, there's just one thing for people. There is what is it called? Underwater, I think, or something. But there's a new film with your woman from Twilight.
Oh yes, Kirsten
Stewart. It's an underwater thing with monsters. It's all I'd say is watch it because there is a twist at the end, somewhat related to what we were just talking about.
I think you just.
It's amazing. It's a fucking brilliant movie.
Quite good.
Yeah. But yeah, so I suppose now we'll go on and talk about our classic album.
Oh, great Odin's Raven!
Yeah, so we were talking about Danzig at the start of the show, and what we're going to try and do maybe every week or every now and again, we're going to start exploring classic albums, or albums that say I would have listened to, or Laura would have listened to, Mark wouldn't necessarily have listened to, or Jen.
Or vice versa.
So for this week, because we're with Danzig anyway, what I consider, and a lot of people consider a classic album, is like Danzig's first album. Danzig, self-titled. Of course, when it came out first, it was just the picture of the skull. There was nothing written on it, so people were like, what the fuck is this? So Mark, you wouldn't necessarily be familiar with Danzig, so you'll have to listen back to the show, listen to the history of Danzig at the start of it. But for the whole thing, just very, very briefly, Danzig, he was in the Misfits first thing. We broke up with the Misfits. He started off his own band called Samhain.
Sam Hain.
But they call it Sam Hain, they call it. So they had 3 albums recorded, and they were about to record album number 4. And Rick Rubin was just starting off the Def Jam.
Legendary producer, basically.
Yes, Def Jam record label under his own kind of like thing that he was after being given. And he really liked Danzig as a performer and thought that he was underutilised and he had an awful lot of talent there for him, and he wanted to kind of like sign him up. And he said to him, look, the rest of your band are fucking terrible, drop him and come over to the label with me, forget about the Sam Hain thing. And Danzig was like, no, I want to hold on to the bass player and the drummer, or no, yeah, it was just a bass player, and they got rid of the guitarist, so he didn't get on with anyway, and the drummer apparently wasn't very good. So
did he not have Dave Bombardo at some stage?
No, not at this stage. No, definitely not. Because the people that were kind of like tooted around for it was what's his name? He used to be the drummer with Motorhead.